Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's a pleasure today to talk to you about pivoting and adapting. Are you pivoting and adapting to the external things that are changing in your environment, as well as the internal things within your work environment, home environment, that you might be required to adapt and change to, or in response to? This topic actually came up because I was walking in an area that I love very much, and I heard canaries singing above me. What? Canaries in the Oxfordshire countryside? That made me start to think, how does a canary survive in the UK? Canaries are used to warm climates, they're used to a different form of food, and somehow they not only have learn to live here, but they're also thriving in our environment. And therefore, if canaries can thrive in a completely different environment, we can too. What is the difference between pivoting and adapting? So pivoting is something that we would do in response to a requirement internally, normally within an organisation or larger structure, where perhaps we have an IT system that needs to be updated because it's not functioning in a particular way. We would use this idea of pivoting. So pivoting, it's not a temporary thing. It is something that is a permanent thing, but it is a smaller requirement, if you like, than change. Change is about, again, responding to circumstances, whether internal or external. External factors might be things like financial factors, what's happening or going on in the economy, demands of our customers. Internal factors could be we need to upgrade to increase or improve production. We need to change the IT system to track products in a better way, or to track our clients' needs in a better way. And in this case, we look to changing. In other words, we look to making something more suitable or fitting to a particular situation. Now, human beings in general do not like change. People prefer to stick with the devil they know rather than the devil they don't know. And this means that we stay in our comfort zone. That zone of comfort of you know what goes on, you know how it goes on, you know how to fit into that. And to actually make changes can become quite uncomfortable. And therefore change and pivoting to a certain extent challenges our ability to step outside of our comfort zone. Certainly when working with organisational change, and my role in that as a business trainer and helping individuals to acknowledge the change and to welcome the change and to work through the change, we see everything from denial to blocking to anger to fear about, will I have a job, will I lose my job if this change goes through. But we also see the positive responses to change of those people who see the suggested change as a positive step forward, and therefore they're looking forward to it and they're questioning how it will work and embracing that opportunity or those opportunities that potentially this change could create. Of course, one of the most well-used and well-known change models is the Elizabeth Kubler-Ross change curve. She actually designed this model from her interviews and observations of working with patients who are terminally ill, mostly with cancer, and the responses that she was noting that were coming from the medical teams, nurses, doctors, assistants, in their inability actually to deal with the emotional side of, one, the patients, but more importantly, very often, the loved ones surrounding that person who is terminally ill. And this change curve helps to highlight what we actually go through in terms of the steps and the stages, sometimes faster, sometimes slower, depending on who we are and where we're at and how we see this. And she takes the point from the first point of denial, this can't possibly be happening, through to shock. Why me? Why is this happening? Where is it coming from? I can't believe it. There's got to be another way. Through to low mood, annoyance, and perhaps even depressive thoughts. And then coming out of that stage and building through questioning to finally reaching the point of integration, where the individual, the teams are now feeling comfortable with this new change and moving forward with it. What we need to do is we need to think about our initial attitude. Our attitude to the announcement of the change, our attitude to the challenge that it's going to give us, and the fact that it might be taking us out of our comfort zones and creating those feelings of fear. Using that acknowledgement of attitude and the feelings that are surrounded or included within that is very important. Allowing those feelings to rise to the surface, looking at them and understanding them is the first huge step to learning to be more adaptable. Once you've acknowledged those feelings, you're actually putting aside, having dealt with it, the emotional responses, and therefore you're in a better position to move forward logically, through logical questioning, through open questioning, through asking for guidance from other people who might be in a similar situation or their opinions, and therefore assess the information logically. And in doing that, you can then see the advantages as well as the disadvantages, if indeed there are any disadvantages. Looking at these aspects of being human, which we all are, feelings are something which are there. Emotions are there, and if you remember to a few minutes ago I mentioned some of the key responses to big change. These emotions around fear, around security, etc. So what is it that you can do to deal with this element of yourself, this human aspect of yourself? So acknowledge the emotion, allow it to be, allow it to come out, allow it to be expressed. Listen to yourself and listen to others. Allow others, the input of others, to help you understand and help you move from the emotional into the logical. When you go into the logical, then reframe your position. By reframing your position, you're looking for the positives of this change. You're reframing what is required into the advantages to you, to the organisation, to your colleagues, to the team, to the business as a whole. And of course, learn to flow with the situation. And this is important because perhaps in looking at the situation, you can't reframe everything positively. You still see the disadvantages. It's okay. And maybe the decision is still to go ahead with this change. If that is the case, we have to learn to live with that and to be committed to whatever has been decided and support that move forward. So learning to flow rather than block is much more acceptable to everyone around you, but more importantly, it means that you don't inwardly take anxiety, overwhelm, distress, that you allow that and those feelings to be where they need to be, but not put inwardly. I haven't covered everything in this YouTube presentation today that is in the blog. So for more information on how to adapt and pivot to new situations, feel free to go to my blog. I'd like to finish with Richard Branson's quote on adaptation and the need to adapt. And he says that every success story requires adaptation and change to be a success. I wish you every success with all the changes you meet and the ability to embrace change, as it is a necessary part of our lifestyle. Just like the green canaries, we can also thrive and enjoy our surroundings.